Hello everyone and welcome to How Stuff Works in Warframe. In this one, we're going to take a look at damage over time elements and how faction mods work. So let's get started. So what is damage over time? So as the name suggests, it is dealing damage to an enemy over the duration of your status proc. What it basically does is it deals damage in terms of ticks. Like every second there will be a tick that will multiply the damage and deal the damage to the enemy. That is basically damage over time, how it works. So let's take a look what elements actually do damage over time. So the elements that do damage over time, or DOT, are slash, heat, toxin, electric, and gas. Among these, slash, heat, toxin, and electric are infinite stackable. There is no limit to their stack. However, gas does have a stack limit of 10. Also, what it does basically, gas, is it creates a bubble around the enemy that will deal damage over time in form of a cloud in a certain radius, of course. Even if the enemy dies, it will still remain there, dealing damage over the period of time that the proc lasts. That is how gas works. As for slash, what it'll do is basically it'll bypass the armor. Let's take Grenadier for an example because they have armor. So what it'll do is basically it'll bypass the armor and deal direct damage to their health. Combine that with viral. Viral and slash is one of the best combos in the game right now. You can easily melt them, as I love to call it. So that is the slash damage over time. What basically he does is it also leaves behind a DOT, but also what it does is it will strip armor as well. That is one of the reasons it is one of the best damages in the game in my opinion. It'll armor strip, it'll deal damage over time, killing infested really easily, killing Grenier really easily, killing acolytes somewhat easily, although they only have a stack of 4 on them. But still, if you have enough damage, you can easily kill them with heat itself. What toxin basically does is, I love to use toxin especially against Corpus, because what it'll do is bypass their shields completely and it'll deal damage directly to their health. Even if there's enemy augmented shields modifier on sortie or something, you can easily bypass it. You can easily kill the Corpus even one shot of Brahma if you have toxin on it. The only exception to this is of course the Eximus. Electric, basically same thing, it'll deal a lot of damage, but the thing is it does need armor strip to deal a lot of damage. That's the reason I like to use it on Corpus. I like to use it on Infested. Really good. Still, even if you manage to armor strip the Grenier or the Acolyte, it really works great against them as well. That is the elements that deal damage over time. So how the double dipping is calculated is that the game will take the amount of modded damage and it'll multiply to a value of 1 plus the amount of faction damage you have. Like let's say you have Prime Smite Grenade. So what it'll do is it will do 1 plus 0.55% of Grenier damage. That is the faction damage. That will multiply with the total number of ticks. That is usually 6. But if you do have status duration on, if you modded it, it will increase the number of ticks, of course. That is how the DOT will be calculated. It will do base damage once, and after that, basically what it'll do is it'll increase the amount of damage every time it ticks. So that is how the double dipping is calculated in the game. I know this is a bit of a maths, but that is basically how you do damage over time to enemies. Another thing is you might have seen a lot of videos suggesting using Roar instead of Eclipse to get additional damage over time. That is exactly how it works. What it'll do is basically it'll add to that faction damage, and what it'll do basically is it'll increase your base average damage over time. So that is how you can squeeze out more damage, especially if you're using melees, if you're using glaive, if you're using Convictrix. That is going to help you a lot to deal damage. So that's the reason people actually recommend using Roar instead of Eclipse, especially if you're doing damage over time builds. So that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. If you did, be sure to leave a like, share with your friends, comment if you have any questions regarding damage over time or build mods, subscribe for more Warframe content. See you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.